That's Nickelback. It's called Rockstar, and we have a literary rock star right in front of us today. She is a Sunday Times and New York Times best-selling author whose books have been published in nearly 50 languages across 51 territories. Her latest novel is called No One Would Do What the Lamberts Have Done. Who wouldn't want to pick that book up off the shelf? It's out now. She's Sophie Hannah. Welcome, Sophie. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
And thanks for coming aboard. You came armed with your own coffee, but it's not coffee as we know it. It's decaffeinated. That allows you to enjoy it a bit more, I think.
Yes, I've recently developed a complete and total addiction to decaf iced lattes.
What brought you? How did this arrive in your world?
I was having breakfast with somebody and I ordered my usual Earl Grey tea with milk, and the person I was having breakfast with ordered a decaf iced latte. And when hers arrived, I just looked at it and thought, that's my holiday drink. That's the kind of drink I would only think of if I was on a beach in Greece.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise I could have it here in central London. And ever sinst, my whole world has been transformed and I order decaf iced lattes wherever I go.
Great. And because it's decaf, you don't feel so,
Yeah, it doesn't make
guilty.
you feel any different, but it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah, you're really convinced. Because you're normally, is your work not fueled by Diet Coke, if you can...
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not a caffeine thing, actually. I drink Diet Coke all day long as well, or I used to until I discovered iced lattes. But I don't like caffeinated coffee. It doesn't agree with me.
Yeah, well, now
so
you've
I
found.
switched. And just the coldness of it and the fact that I genuinely associate it with many Greek holidays that I've had in the past.
Oh, so it's a lovely Proustian hit, nearly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It makes me feel like I'm a bit on holiday.
Yeah, no, that's great. Wherever you go, a little bit
Whatever
of
I'm doing.
grease in a cup right there, in a manner of speaking. You got to watch how you say. Sophie, well, congratulations on everything you've done. And
Thank you.
Congratulations on the new one. And No One Would Do What the Lamberts Have Done, which is out this week, is it? Or
yes, it came out Thursday.
Came out on Thursday, it's just gone. So it's in the shops and people are ready. Let's talk about it. Okay, where we go? Give us the pitch if you could, and we'll take it from there.
Well, it's about an ordinary family that does the unthinkable. The Lamberts are normal, totally regular family, and then one day, a malicious and spiteful neighbour accuses their beloved pet dog, whose name is Champ Lambert, of biting her teenage daughter.
Yeah.
And the police come to the door and the Lamberts are told that the bite is quite a serious bite. And Sally Lambert, the mum of the family, quickly knows that if this doesn't go the right way, her dog could be branded a dangerous dog and taken away, and worst case scenario, put down. And Sally just decides she is not willing to live in a world where that even might happen. And so she goes on the run with the dog in order to save the dog's life. And because her husband, Mark, does not like the idea of his wife and dog careering around the country without him knowing where they are, he reluctantly decides he has to go too. And the two teenage children, Rhiannon and Toby, have GCSE and A-level revision to do, which is well boring. So they decide they want to go too. So basically, the whole Lambert family goes on the run to save the life of their beloved Champ. Yeah. And of course, I don't know how much thought you've ever given to what life as a fugitive would be like, but my nickname for this book while I was writing it was The Furry Fugitive. If I could have got away with calling it The Furry Fugitive, I would have. But when I thought it through, I thought, actually, if you were to go on the run in those exact circumstances, no one would look for you, right? The police haven't got resources to spare looking for families whose dogs may or may not have bitten people. So I just loved the idea of the family being on the run, and they obviously can't come back, otherwise the legal machinery starts up again. But they also are on the run knowing no one's searching for them.
Yes.
So what do? All cooped up together in their rooms that they've escaped to.
So they're in abeyance in some ways, in a grey area of sorts.
Total limbo.
What is it, the furry?
The Furry Fugitive.
The Furry Fugitive, because No One Would Do What the Lamberts Have Done is the title of the book, which is a lot of words for a book title. I quite like that. Did the publishers have an argument with you about that? Were they loving it?
They loved it from the minute they heard it. And I loved it, because when I realised I couldn't call it The Furry Fugitive, I thought, right, what's the best sort of serious title? And that one immediately sprang to mind. And I thought, okay, yes, it's long, but also it was a really important part of the concept for me, because I only had this idea in the first place because I realised that if anything like that happened to me, and something similar did happen to my brother-in-law, his dog was issued with an ASBO. So wasn't put down, but was issued with an antisocial behavioural order. And this dog had done nothing wrong. This was an innocent dog, right? Miscarriage of justice.
Of canine justice.
And I'm a passionate dog lover, and you know, I've had two dogs. And when I imagined that happening to my dog, I just thought I could not just sit still and wait for the machinery of so-called justice to do its thing.
What a trigger for your story.
And then I thought I would have to go on the run. But
Yes.
then my next thought was, no, but nobody does that. No one would do that. Then I realised that I would do it. And then I thought back over my life. And I've got a long history of being the person who does the thing no one would do.
Yeah.
And that was how the title came to me. And I told my publisher, and she immediately went, oh, that's amazing. That's a great title. And I said, aren't you worried it's too long? She was like, no, it's fine. We'll just make it work.
It's great. And do you know what I thought about it as well? It would be great in charades.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be? It's a great charades clue, your book title.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Can you issue an ASBO on a dog?
You can,
I
yeah.
did not know
And what my brother-in-law was told was that if he accepted the ASBO, even though his dog had done nothing wrong, but if he accepted the ASBO, then it wouldn't go any further, and he was kind of guaranteed that his dog wouldn't be taken away or put down. But if he fought to clear his dog's name and rejected the ASBO, then the authorities couldn't predict which way it might go. So it's kind of a bit like those American movies where someone says, look, take a guilty plea and you'll be out in 3 years.
God, you're not going to hurt. Sophie, just stick around. I've got a song I need to play and want to ask you some more questions about lots of other things. Okay, Sophie Hannah, our guest today. For Sophie Hannah, our guest today, we're chatting about No One Would Do What the Lamberts Have Done. That's her new book. But we're also having a chat, generally speaking, during the song there about observations and other people's lives and stories. And that's what you do in that beautifully literary magpie way. You'll see spots of through the keyhole of the what looks like a normal house, and you go,
Yeah.
I'll have a bit of that. Do you collect those gems as you're going along, or do you just make them up out of thin air?
I don't intentionally collect them, but I would say that I'm so fascinated by the absolutely widespread and commonplace weirdness that you just encounter in everyday life.
Yes.
I reckon most people think, most of us are broadly speaking quite normal and functional, and that is not my experience. No. Any household, family, group of people that you know well, there's always some weird, inexplicable thing, and I just find that fascinating. So I think my antennae are just tuned to notice things like that, and there's plenty of them in the novel.
And if you can acknowledge that your own weirdness or your own peculiarity, that's a good start. Yes. I think generally.
Well, in fact, I am one of the characters in the book, the mum, who goes on the run with her dog. Is based on me. She really is.
Oh, you gave of yourself to this?
Yes. Well, for example, Champ Lambert, the wrongly accused dog, Sally Lambert, his mum, the one who's based on me, has a song that she regularly sings him, and it's to the tune of Land of Hope and Glory, but she's changed the lyrics to Land of Cute and Furry. And that's a song that, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can hear that.
She's got her own lyrics. Land of Cute and Furry, Champy, you're the best, etc., etc. And that is literally a song that I made up to sing to my dog, although my dog is called Chunk.
Yes.
So I sang Chunky, you're the best. But yeah, so that I put in my own eccentricities.
So you're not just borrowing elsewhere. You're putting yourself in. Can I touch quickly on the Poirot series that that you have written in recent years? First of all, what was that like to be asked? And secondly, how much of a challenge was it?
It was a huge honour and frankly unbelievable when it happened. Like, I could not believe that the same person who at the age of 12 sat on my bed and read Agatha Christie novel after Agatha Christie novel, and I was being asked to write the first Poirot novel since Agatha Christie's death. So it was a huge honour and a huge challenge, but I decided to just call it excitement rather than terror. And that was genuinely...
That's good, I like that. Yeah.
That was genuinely how I experienced it. I was like, yes, it's a challenge. Yes, it's a bit daunting, but also it's the most exciting thing ever. So yeah, it's been amazing. I've now just finished my 6th Poirot novel, which is coming out in October. Yeah. And there's a very prominent Agatha Christie related strand in No One Would Do What the Lamberts have done.
The Christie heads will get that straight away.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's on the face of it, it's not very Agatha Christie-ish, although it is an extremely twisty murder mystery. Yes. But there's a specifically and overtly Agatha-related thing in the book, which is that the village where the Lamberts and their enemy family, the Gaveys, live, there's a book club. And at a certain point, this book club decides to be an Agatha Christie specific book club, at which point everyone is delighted because all the women in the book group love Agatha Christie. And then one day, one of the members suggests that for their next read, they read a Mary Westmacott novel. Now, Mary Westmacott was Agatha's pseudonym. Yeah. So they're still Agatha Christie books, but that she published them under the name Mary Westmacott. And this causes such a huge rift in the village book group from which it never recovers, and it spreads even to the husbands of the women in the book group, and neighbours are like running almost under the wheels of tractors to avoid each other because this war, it turns into a war.
Yeah.
Is a Mary Westmacott novel legitimately an Agatha Christie novel or not? And the book group members can't agree.
Well, if you're going to have a war, have a war over that, and nothing more.
But it is the kind of thing, you know, in small organisations like church committees, village book groups, that kind of thing feels so overwhelmingly important and can genuinely cause huge rifts.
Mad. Do you remember Wurzel Gummidge?
Yes, very well.
Do you have another head then? So when you're writing the Agatha Christie, do you put on your Poirot head, and then when you're writing as yourself, your own head? Or, and in this case, you've kind of melded the two heads together. The metaphor is completely out of control. But
yeah, not really another head, but I definitely feel that each book idea has with it, it's kind of accompanied by a voice and sensibility for that book, and it's different. Obviously, the Poirot ones are similar, the same as each other, but different from Lamberts. But also, my contemporary crime fiction that I've also written for many years, that's also different from Lamberts. Lamberts is a very unique book and had a completely new mode and vibe to it, I would say.
Well, Fiona Lambert has just got in touch with us to say, I'm sitting here giggling to myself as a Lambert, whose very first dog back in the 70s was called Champ. I mean, this is extraordinary. I adored the dog and definitely would have gone on the run with him. Will definitely be picking up a copy of this book.
That is incredible.
How about that?
I'm honestly so happy that she wrote into that is amazing.
Isn't that great? Fiona
There was
Lambert.
A real Champ Lambert.
There's Champ Lambert, as we live and breathe, and it's there. Okay, we maybe put you in touch and we get a picture of the original. Sophie Hannah, it's called No One Would Do What the Lamberts Have Done. Fiona will tell you all about it. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you
Thanks
too. Thanks for having me on.